This is me, the Grand Duchess Rasmus Good, and having to record this recording again because for some reason, with the corruption of everything and with the criminals trying to suppress my voice, the criminals, the army criminals, and the government criminals, the murderers that try to take my life in Korea and so forth. But we're not going to get into that. I'm going to get into something today. Prayer. And so forth. I went out Sunday night to this hookah bar. Is it Bar 18? Whatever color, hookah bar 18, something like that. Very nice. Some very eclectic people. Had a mango drink and some water and hang out there and so forth. Um, anyway, I want to speak about the darkness, how darkness and negativity envelop people and they never come to an understanding of themselves and who they are and how they just let it enfold them and negativity enfold them. But once you see the light, once you understand who you are, you let people do whatever they have to do. You let them do their own persistent, I call it self decorated protection, whether it's inhumane and criminal and so forth. It's so funny how our society have evolved from racist to sexist, all of this, and now we have to deal with criminals in the government. It's a criminalistic society. Russell Simmons said it eloquently, and I have experienced it to the hilt in the most vicious fashion. It doesn't matter. The element of criminality in the government is so high that when we get a terror warning, we wonder if it's we need to protect ourselves from them in office. It doesn't matter if you have a black president or not. Criminal is a criminal. My idea, in my experience, he's a criminal. You know what I mean? And it's so funny that they never get prosecuted. They pardon each other. For what? Um, Not my affair in some ways, but you know, we all talk about justice and we all talk about fair play and so forth and equality and all kind of fucking foolishness like that, and here we have people that we elected perpetrated evil upon us and our children. When I was going through what I went through in Korea, and I said the most scary thing, I do believe in spirits coming to visit and so forth, and playing a role, love. I call it love, the fabric of love that never die, that holds us and support us when no one else does, and so forth, in fairness and honesty. Um, I have I have seen call them ghosts or whatnot, I have been reaffirmed that I was not the first person that have endured what I have gone through. I think of a lot of young people and a lot of other people that have passed through the army and they got that letter at the door, oh, your son died, XYZ, and the situation was never such. It was suppressed to protect and so forth the criminals in the army, the criminals in the government and so forth, because they are a group of criminals. They are groups in the military and so forth that criminalize other people, that victimize each other, not victimize, target and victimize other members of the armed forces without without any solicitation or provocation. Um, it's so annoying and disappointing that we have to speak about these issues, that we have to but we need to look at ourselves and confront ourselves before we decide we're going to fight in somebody else's yard for justice and liberty. Are we just ourselves? Are we liberalized? Are we honest in our doctrination to ourselves and the people that we represent? That has confronted me a whole lot, and whatever the cost, I must confront myself. I was talking to the lawyer today from the military. He called me and said, hey, I want to ask you some questions. Your former command will not cooperate. I can't find this. We have to do it. And I said, well, criminals never do in that situation. They never do. They're such hardened criminals. They did such an injustice that instead of saying we apologize, let's meet as adults, intelligent, an attempt was made, further attempt was made on my life, and so forth. But you know, such is life. But the ones that survive tell the story. And I have to be a responsible person. I have to say it with responsibility in order to encourage the next generation to be more responsible to each other, to look out more for each other. If we are good people, let's us be good people to each other first before we take a gun and extend that arm to somebody else. But the poor thing that these people are so shell shocked, and a lot of people who work at the Walker, they're so shell shocked and devoid of personal and professionalism that they, I don't know how long this war is going through, but it has blinded them to what they really should be doing and how they should conduct themselves. Anyway, I want to read one thing that I wrote, and it's very poignant to me. I really like it, and you know, it's when all the darkness has enveloped around you, how do you conduct yourself? How do you deal with the negativity of the externalism? Remember, this external force is trying to push you down, is trying to label you and wrap you up. Take this little blue pill, makes you feel better, you will enter the zone. I don't believe that. That little blue pill is the criminality, is a destructive force of the fabric of humanity. The nonconformity is the future of society. The variation of how we produce individuals and individuality is the driving force of success to the future of society. This is probably why they're so Stepford wives, CIA, government, and army, that they're ingrained in a blind materialism. If you're like this, you're acceptable. And so they can't see the destructive force. The recession is based on the uniformity and the conformity of the government, unable to speak in originality. But it doesn't matter if they change healthcare secretary, it doesn't matter if they change treasury secretary, the rate is all the same people. These people have such PhDs, and what the hell, we're still in poverty. I am not, I never say spiritual and emotional, absolutely not. There may be lack of resources for us in such a rich nation. And we have all these rich people, all these qualified people. You wonder, why are we, what are we lacking in the society? It's all because of this little darkness and this dark society. But I wrote something, I call it Black Graces. I call myself a Black Grace. The Black Graces, nice, dark, prestigiously arrive, peace alight in glory, white light. The eye and eye, faith yellow as the sun Ra fit rise. 'Tis of thee, in thine, from the golden brown I was created, in spirit divine. And I say that the Black Grace, that out of this vast darkness was a light. Some people are blinded and can't see the darkness, the light in the darkness. Some people adjust and become that light in the darkness. Nice dark, whether you are shaded, or we become a messy, confused dark. If you're shaded by the dark, you are still that light. You are a shade in the dark. You arrive at peace, and if in peace, a glory, people call white glory, shining glory. But still, that white light is so bright that it can darken your eyes, and it can be a darkness to you. And I say the faith, the belief, the yellow, the sun makes everything grow. And that sun can be so hot and scorching that only a little of its rays shine here so that we can function. But imagine if you were totally absorbed, all of it. That could emaciate you. And so for in whatever